The sounds coming from this house were so terrifying, even police were involved, and it was all recorded. And after listening to the recordings, I want you to ask yourself, is this house haunted? Or perhaps is there a sinister crime taking place here? But before we continue on with the story, you must be aware that you're now within minutes of horror, and your only chances of survival is hitting that subscribe button, then hitting that notification bell. Let's continue on with the story. In 2007, Alan and Christine Tate moved into a house in a quiet neighborhood in the former coal mining town of Ammanford, Wales. It was a nice place for them to live. They were friendly with their neighbors, and for 11 years they lived there without incident. It was not until 2018 that something strange started to happen. For some reason, the Tates' quiet, content life was about to be upended by mysterious, possibly paranormal forces from beyond our understanding, and the house they had enjoyed for so long was about to become the stuff of nightmares. It began in June of that year. It was an otherwise calm and pleasant evening, and Christine was making coffee in the kitchen as she often did. It was all completely mundane, but then as she went about preparing the coffee, Christine's thoughts were intruded upon by strange noises that seemed to be coming from the walls and the floor. At the time, these noises were faint, scratching and scuffling sounds, and she could not tell where they were coming from, but she did know that they were not normal noises she had ever experienced in their 11 years there. Some of these initial sounds were very reminiscent of water flowing or flushing. Christine states that it was like a flushing noise she heard at first. She told her husband Alan about it, and they couldn't figure out where the noise was coming from. Alan left his phone in the bathroom with the recorder on to try to pick up the source of the noise, but that is when they heard a machine running. At the time, they wrote it off as perhaps the house was settling or a plumbing problem, but the noises continued over the coming days, first confined to the kitchen, but then emanating from other areas of the house. The flushing was also joined by sounds of something scratching and banging around. Thinking they perhaps had a rodent problem, they had the house inspected, but there was no sign of any rodents or anything else that could account for it. It was truly odd, but at first the couple just tried to ignore it and get on with their lives, but it was about to graduate to the truly bizarre. The strange sounds continued, but they also began to change. The noises started to sound like whispering or someone speaking in a foreign language, faint at first but gradually building in intensity to the point that it sounded like someone talking in the next room, but there was no one there. After this, the unintelligible speaking came to be punctuated by startling screams, shrieks, and moans, sometimes accompanied by loud knocks or thuds and heavy scratching and clawing sounds, as if something was panicked and struggling to break through the walls and the floor. The voices covered a wide range of types, including those of women, children, and men. On occasion gentle, but on others rough, anguished, or even downright snarling and aggressive. There were also other sounds, including sexual sounds, dogs barking, a printing press running, a motorbike, a car horn, and what also sounded like a police siren. They could never tell what the voices were saying, or where any of the sounds were coming from. It was all getting so bad that they were afraid to be in their own home. In the meantime, they took to recording the various anomalous noises on recording devices, placed throughout the house. Alan would state, "All I really wanted was an explanation. Why are there people screaming? There must be something going on. We placed microphones all over the place because we wanted to prove or disprove what we were hearing. Were these noises coming from the main road? Were they coming from a park? We put microphones to the front of the house and to the back of the house, inside and out, and in the basement. The device we left in the basement picked up the screaming and other noises. The other devices, which were recorded simultaneously at the front and the back of the property, picked up nothing at all." Alan began a mission to try to figure out the source of the mysterious sounds, going so far as to dig 1.5 meter channels into the walls and place recording equipment inside the shafts. After several days of constant recording, he was able to determine that the sounds were originating from the underground, beneath the basement below the kitchen. There is no direct access to the underground space, other than down a small hole with 9 feet of darkness below it, so it was baffling that the noises should be coming from there. But by this time, the story was hitting the news, and much of the talk surrounding it focused on how the house was haunted and that this was a paranormal activity. But Alan Tate had another idea, believing it perhaps indicative of some sort of criminal activity going on in subterranean tunnels beneath the property, perhaps human trafficking or drug running, and that there are men, women, and children living, sleeping, and working underneath the house. In fact, he believes that he and Christine's lives are in danger, to the point that the couple had moved out and refused to go back. Alan would state, "I believe there are quite a lot of people down there. We want as many people as possible to know about this, so the police are urged to carry out a more thorough investigation. We don't want to go back until the matter has been resolved. I think we're dealing with a serious criminal gang here, and I think our lives could be in danger if they knew where we were. Hundreds of people have been in touch with us and agreed that this needs to be properly looked at. This matter needs an urgent, full investigation." And for their part, the police have done very little to actually look into it. An investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing or crime, although they have been able to identify the sounds of screaming coming from underneath the basement. Despite a petition collected by the Tates to have police look into the matter further, authorities have considered it a case closed, leaving them to release hundreds of hours of recordings they collected from the home to let people make up their own minds. They have also traveled the UK, warning of their experiences and accusing the authorities of Ammanford of covering up what they believe to be something going on in the town. So what do you all believe? Do you believe this is paranormal in nature, or some nefarious human dealings going on underneath the earth? And the fact that the police know there's screaming coming from this house, but don't want to investigate, makes me believe the rabbit hole runs deep. At one point in time, Epstein Island, a playground for the rich and powerful, was considered a conspiracy theory until it was completely exposed. So an underground area where people are abused in the worst way possible is not outside the realm of possibility. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe, then hit that notification button. Once again, thank you so much for supporting this channel.